Join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
which stand one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay. On, we have confirmations. We do have something under public comments, petitions, and memorials. Wanted to read this first. It says, on behalf of all city staff, we'd like to nominate Megan Green, acting city clerk, for employee of the quarter. Megan has been faced with many challenges since taking over as acting clerk and has yet to back down from the many tasks she has been assigned. She communicates effectively, works relentlessly, and does it all with a smile on her face. Megan stepped up and became the backbone of our crew. Her tasks doubled and nearly tripled, but her willingness to learn and be a leader has kept us afloat. We are very grateful for her continued hard work and efforts, allowing each of us to keep departments operating smoothly. We appreciate you, Megan. So as much as you would love to. I don't know who's gonna be our photographer though. Oh, I don't know. So I second all the words they just said. Thank you, Megan. Yeah. Everything you do. I'm here to. Thank you. You want to say any words or anything?
I'm okay. Thank you guys.
Oh. I'm gonna keep it myself. That was your words. I think you guys sometimes presented so well. Okay, the second item under public comments, we're just going to table that since Terry wasn't able to be here. Moving on to the consent agenda, is there anything that you needed to add to that, Becky, or any questions for anybody?
One note: the special meeting minutes from June 28th have been revised, so you have the new revised minutes there in front of you. And then the Olson engineering agreement for the phase 1A sewer project is just so that we can get reimbursed by KDHE for the engineering on the project. So the initial agreement to do that.
Are there any questions? Not, I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? If not,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion passed 5-0. Under old business, demolition properties, resolution number 2312, 913 Miami, 507 Miami, 606 Kings.
So on May 8th, we adopted a resolution declaring the properties unsafe and dangerous. We had a couple of people that showed up during the public hearing to discuss a couple of the properties, one of which was purchasing the house on contract. And then and that one was 507 Miami. So the property did contact Dave Wilson and said that he wants to demolish the house and is buying up tenant's contract. That house is still currently occupied. So what I would propose is that we go ahead and adopt the resolution for all three properties that gives them until August 21st. The initial resolution that was adopted gave till June 19th, I think, or something like that. But it didn't get published in the paper, so we can't actually take anything down or do anything with it until it's 30 days after publication. So this would allow that 30 days after publication. The other property owner who showed up, it was a couple, and they had talked about they had purchased property to have their son move into. They did go and get a contractor's license from Dave, but he hasn't heard anything further from them. So this would give them until August 21st. We would have the official, it's published, and this is the official date. And of course, they'd have between now and that time to work with days. But I would recommend adopting the resolution with this date, and then, you know, if there's something accomplished in between that time, that gives them a month to do something.
That's good news that they're not gonna try and redo 507 Miami. That would have been a lot of
Yeah.
work. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2023-12, declaring structures at 913 Miami, 507 Miami, 606 Kansas unsafe and dangerous.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion? If not,
Favor?
aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion passed 5-0. Okay, new business, something tiny like the 2024 budget revenue neutral rate.
Right.
So Becky, if you'd like to take that over.
Sure. So by July 20th at 5 p.m., we're required by state law to send our intention with the revenue neutral rate to the county clerk. If we remain revenue neutral, which means we take in the exact amount of property tax dollars in the upcoming year as we took in this year, levy the same amount. Then our budget is due to the county clerk by August 25th. Which is a bit of an impossibility given where we're at right now. And we had talked about when we initially adopted our budget schedule that we would be recommending the R&R increasing past R&R just not reason other than to get our budget together to be able to review, get better projections and that sort of thing. And because the budget's not due until October 1, to go above the R&R. So I put kind of an explanation of that in some items to you guys. I do not have a budget done to say these are the exact tax dollars that we need to do, our current expenses if we were just to keep everything the same. I can tell you that our payment is significantly higher, workers' compensation is significantly higher than. There were several budget items for 2023 that were inadvertently left out of the budget. And that's of course just because there was this really short, big timeline for the interim to get it done. And it was difficult to say the least. So there's a few things that I've come across. And additionally, we've gotten notification that our insurance, property casualty insurance carriers are going to be reviewing our values, likely requiring an increase in our values. So we anticipate that going up. Our papers rate has gone up. Of course, we had good luck with insurance last year when we didn't have sufficient money budgeted for what United came back or Blue Cross came back with, and then they, in the end, ended up giving us a pretty rate. But we can't plan for that again this year. So those are kind of some of the things that concern me in particular about going revenue neutral. We are, even our previous budget was spent down a substantial amount of fund balance in our property tax supported funds. So I came up with 20 different options that are in front of you. So the revenue neutral rate currently our mill levy is at 41.031. And the revenue neutral rate with the increase in evaluation would be 36.475. So I kind of put that there as R&R, not an option. And then the 41.031 being our current rate, I put that in as an option number 2. It's like keep our current rate. We would, take the increase in assessed valuation, which is partially, I have that number somewhere. The increase in valuation for this year is okay, so if you take over the last 3 years, when we've gone revenue neutral, if you look at the last 3 years, new improvements consist of about $1 million in the increase in valuation. That in total increase in valuation, $5.5 million over those 3 years. So 1 million of that is new improvements. About 1.5 is neighborhood revitalization rebates, which means although that's part of our valuation, it's not taxable valuation. So one thing that I always think about when we're looking at property taxes is. One, I would say, I don't know why we have a neighborhood revitalization program. If we're not going to take advantage of those properties coming off, coming on tax. Because that's what you're doing in state revenue neutral. You're saying you get free taxes for building for whatever those rates are that the county's neighborhood revitalization rate is. You don't have to pay these taxes. Typically, the point of that program is to incentivize buildings so that later you do realize those property tax increases. So by staying revenue neutral, you're essentially not doing that. And also, if you're not taking advantage of any of the new improvements, then you are. So because there's new improvements, because there's $1 million worth of new improvements for years, that means that we've actually been decreasing those property taxes because there's additional valuation coming on that's new. It's not just increasing. So that where that came from as far as the 41.031, which would be the current levy. Let's at least keep the additional increase in valuation. The 42.459 would be keeping the current inflation. So not 2024, so if what we had levied, this would be what we would have levied last year, because obviously we don't know what 24 is going to look like since we're budgeting ahead. But yeah, the option we would give it the 42.459. It's 180,000. Zero inflation number essentially. If you look at the inflation from 2013 to September 2023, that total inflation is 31%. So that means for every dollar that you had in 2013, you now have to spend $1.31 to get the same thing. This shows how we were on 14% under inflation. Is where we were at with our current mill levy. And then we also put on Brown County and USD 415 to show what their mill levies have been doing and what they're taking in tax revenues. So if you look at USD 415, the increase valuation, the increase Brown County is about 71%. And if you look at our valuation, you see our increase anywhere near that. And so what the mill levy is done, you look at USD 415, their mill has gone down since 2014, about 8%, but the valuation has increased. And so actual tax dollars taken in is about 48% of inflation rate. And then if you look at Brown County, it's the same situation. Mill levy has gone down 14%, but if you look at the revenue that's budgeted for property taxes over these 2 years, or over comparing 2023, you're looking at an increase of $1 million, which is 46%. So we're doing everything we can to keep property taxes low. In Hiawatha, the city's actual mill levy is, we're not the biggest influencer here. It's the school district in Brown County, it's the city. And so if doing what they need to do to keep up with inflation, and then also making it things like that, and we're just falling further behind. And so I guess, and it's the fourth option, the 53, that would be levied into it. And so we levy about from and this 2020, that's the actual that's no. So like when you see sorry, that's backwards. Yeah, that's for the so something to keep in mind. We can go down, we cannot go up from what's published. So this process is that we have to send the notice July 20th, and then we have to publish in the paper and to have our public You have to have a August 20th. I was proposing a city commission meeting. So I don't know. And then so once the county, then the county will send out notices to all the taxpayers about what that change is in proposed property tax. And then the public has an opportunity to come and recommendation. I mean, the biggest thing to me is that we can't go up from whatever we budget. And we can certainly go down, and we have a lot of work to do on the budget to figure out, you know, what is appropriate. I mean, as far as weighing commissioner priorities and, you know, we've got a lot of work to do still. So I don't want to like tie our hands too much. That makes any sense.
Well, it seems to me we'd want to give ourselves plenty of wiggle room. You know, like the fact that what we said to go higher. I'd like to be able to have the ability to be able to move with what we need, so I'm comfortable with option 4, not saying that's what you're looking at, right? But it's a place to start. Rest of you think?
I'm having a hard time. The audio on this is pretty garbled on my end, so I got bits and pieces of what you were saying. I guess I'm okay with saying that we're going to exceed the revenue neutral rate at this time so that we have some opportunity to get our budget in place and figure out where we're at. Was there a new proposed mill levy that we would state to the county if we file that form that says we're going to exceed the neutral rate? I didn't hear it.
Did you get that email I sent, Dave? I passed it out to commissioners, but I don't know if you got it.
Unless you just sent it a little bit ago, I don't think I got it.
I sent it at like 3:45 maybe. No,
I did not.
Okay. Let me send this to you guys really quick.
I really don't want to have to play with taxes at all. My taxes went 20%, 25%.
That wasn't the city increase.
I understand that, but it's still up. And I think everybody's is up that much. I think we can find some cuts somewhere. It's been a bad year for everybody's seen hikes on everything. Not to mention our water bill and everything else. We're just picking at every little avenue we have right now.
Well, and like I said, we're not saying yes to 53 mills or anything. We're just saying that we've got to start somewhere. And I don't like being locked into where we can't move at all. If we say we're gonna, I'm not comfortable saying we're gonna do revenue neutral. I think that's, if we want to continue doing good things with the city, to just say we're definitely going R&R right now. That's when we can still allow ourselves some time to really look this through to see if the cuts you say are there, if we can find them. But to just say right now, no, we're not doing anything. I'm not comfortable with that. Evans, I don't know what you think.
We need to start somewhere, but I mean, we can't go up, so I mean, on that there, so I mean, we can always start somewhere, but then we always
Tony, did you say something? Or Dave, did you get the email?
Yeah, I just got it. I trying to read it here.
Did you get that, Tony?
Speed
No,
reading.
I haven't, and I didn't get it earlier either.
I don't think I gotta do.
Well, I just handed it out to you guys.
So it's,
With your here, yeah.
In my opinion, the decision we have to make tonight is, are we going to at least agree that we may not be at revenue neutral rate? I mean, we may end up there.
What we have to send in though to the county is a proposed mill
Right.
levy rate for that public hearing that we're going to present.
Right, so. I said, I'm comfortable with just going ahead and going with option 4 with the understanding that that doesn't mean that that's what we're going to do.
Well,
Yeah.
like Dave, I was getting like every third word and, it, we couldn't hear what you were saying.
Well, that'll
It's
teach.
really, I like the idea that we can't go above that, but we can go less. It's just that, like Brian said, we're just being, I'm on a fixed income myself, and I'm paying almost $100 a month for water. It's just, it's a tough decision to make when we don't have a clue as to what it's going to be. And I understand the importance of making that decision tonight. It's a by guess and by gosh.
Well, and the frustrating part of it is, like it said, we're not the ones that have caused all this increase. I mean, the schools are getting their piece of the pie, the county's getting their piece of the pie. I want to make sure that our city is getting what they have to balance with, that we don't want to just say everybody will have their pocketbooks and give us all your money. So but tonight, if we just, the decision is that if we go with option 4, knowing that we can go down later, we will. Then we have something we can turn into the county by Thursday, and then the real work gets going. So
As a percent of tax bill, just looking at the 2022 statement, so as a percent of tax bills, the percent change of like everyone, like USD 415 went up 4.17% on this particular bill. State went up 8.86. That's the other thing, is the state constantly gets after cities and counties about property taxes, because the state legislature hears the complaints about it, but they're still at 1.5 months, and that equates to an 8.8% increase. So that they're receiving, which is the highest of the entities, and then you have Brown County was 7.78, and then we were down 3.5 USD for 15. Oh, the other is because you guys 15 has 2 counties, the other levy is 80%. And then the cemetery district is going to this. So.
The only thing I heard on that was 3.17, and I have no idea what the rest of it was. My suggestion is, if this is voted through, is someone else talking?
no, keep going.
Oh, I'm sorry, because I hear 2 or 3 people talking. Is that the commissioner, the mayor, and the city administrator sit down and make an agreement that the city does what the city is supposed to do and not do the county's work. We're losing money there. I see several places that we are losing money. And we all can't be on the finance committee. We can't all work on the budget. But there are those of us that have other ideas on how we can save money and not do other people's work for them. So if this goes through, the squeaky wheel gets heard, and believe me, I'm going to be heard.
Well, I'm going to make a motion to authorize submission of notice to exceed the revenue neutral rate of that budget public hearing for September 11th, 2023 at 5:35 p.m. with the option 4.
Didn't hear a word you said.
I just made a motion to do, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, Tony. I mean, that's technology for us. So I mean, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
All in favor?
Dave, did you vote?
Aye.
All opposed?
That means what you do.
I'll vote aye.
Tony, we went ahead and made a motion to vote on this, submission of the budget to say at option 4. Why am I yelling?
Okay, I hear you now. I haven't. Are you
So-
asking me to vote?
Yes. And
Oh, I
so,
vote aye.
okay. Motion passed 4-1. So now the real work starts. Okay, Brad, you're up next to discuss, thinking about any money. The water pump failure.
Okay, so during our regularly scheduled week, maintenance program that we have to play, during this, one of our pumps actually locked up on this during startup. I was talking to Wayne for a while on this because I just wanted to verify a few facts before I brought this to you. One of them being that we weren't inside of the warranty period, which we're not. Another one was just, you know, the pumps are only like 5 years old. And so I was really kind of concerned as to why we had a pump failure like this on a 5-year-old pump. What they came back to me was that it was weird, like it was a nylon washer that's inside the pump itself. That's supposed to be like wear part, but it just completely came apart when it just locked the pump up. And so I asked if there's any conditions that could cause this. They said, no, not really. Sometimes these things happen. You know, I really didn't get a good answer from them. Is a good way to put it. Yeah, but I'm comfortable saying that it's not something that we're not doing that's causing this. And so that's what I wanted to know. It's like, okay, well, you know, is there maintenance that we're supposed to be doing that can prevent this? You know, the answer was no. So that being said, the repair cost for this is $23,650. And it's unbudgeted. This is just something that happened. So what we would need to do is kind of watch the water budget for the rest of this year just to make sure that we're not exceeding our budget for the year. So we don't have to do a budget amendment or anything like that. So we just have to watch our budget closely, but I'm asking for $23,658 to repair high service bottom of one of the water treatment plant.
So this isn't to buy a pump, it's just to repair it.
Well, essentially you're buying each pump, yes.
Is there a motion?
$1,658 to repair a pump. Water plant.
A second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved to second. Any further discussion? Megan?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next agenda item, appointment to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
This is just a reappointment of Leon Whitman, who's been on the board previously and we wanted to re-up his term.
Need a motion for that, or just-
I'll make a
Motion
motion.
to, go ahead.
Go ahead.
To appoint Leon Wiseman to serve a 3-year term on the Board of Zoning Appeals to expire October 24th, 2025.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any other motion or discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion passed. 4-0.
Thanks.
Fucking frustrated, keep hearing. Okay, moving on to reports from staff.
We've got June 23 revenue expense report. We've got, the league annual conference, which is, October 7th through 9th in Wichita. Typically, they rotate each year, so 1 year's Wichita, 1 year's Overland Park, 1 year's Topeka. This happens to be the year that it's further, which really requires overnight stay. But that's a great conference, and I'm really encourage anyone that's interested in attending to go, everybody. It's over the weekend, so there's stuff on Monday as well, but Sunday, Monday is where the bulk of things are. There's some programming on Saturday, but I would say attending for Sunday, Monday. You get the most bang for your buck. We reserved 4 hotel rooms so far. So. Next one, June judges report. We've got your June 2023 accounts payable report. And then the June report from the Hiawatha Fire Department. And then that's all I've got. If anyone has any questions on any of that, and if not, turn it over to Patrick for fire.
Morgan.
That's stacked though, so.
There we go. So last time you heard from me was the bid for the fire truck. Since then, we have applied for the governor's grant. We did find some clause in there where we would be eligible to apply for the grant because of the condition of the truck. We have done so, obviously we have not heard back. I also took the truck to Gary Sherrick, and he found,
It's,
okay.
yeah, it's,
Gary replaced the radiator. He also put 140-degree thermostat in the truck. He went through it. Becky, did you give him that piece of paper I gave you? Gary. Oh, okay. Well, Gary wrote just a statement of what he discovered. It's his opinion. It says, Mayor and Commissioner, I was asked by Fire Chief Shulman to evaluate Unit 85 in 1990 Chevy one-ton fire truck. This unit was purchased by the fire department in 1990. Hiawatha Motors, the unit was built. Sorry. The unit was built by the members of the department as a quick response vehicle and also responded to any hazmat situation in the county. This unit, like all fire trucks, are not treated with kind gloves. It goes to fires, and it is not treated well. I'm just reading this verbatim. The unit is tired. It has served the community well. It has a weak spring on the left rear, rust throughout the body, wiring issues. It's tired. Engine-wise, the unit has been running hot several times, but the engine is sound. Full leaks are at a minimum, as well as the transmission. It is 33 years old, and the repair bill is more than its value. Pump, tank hoses, and all can be used on another unit. The city of Hiawatha has several trucks in its fleet that need replaced. Unit 7 came from the Kansas Forestry Service. It's worn out. Unit 3 is a 1984 GMC. The engine is obsolete, where we are unable to find parts, but not from General Motors. That's what he gave me.
We at least get that spring fixed,
We can get the spring fixed.
like $500.
There again, we're gonna put much more money into the truck.
Yeah, you don't want your rear axle coming up underneath either.
You're right. I don't want to be responsible for firemen in the truck when it goes down in a fire either. So I could care less about the truck. It's the two guys that are in it.
Right.
So I've done all those. Like I said, we applied for the grant. The grant's going to require us to purchase the truck anyways. My recommendation is to go ahead and set up an agreement with Hayes Fire and put the initial $55,000 deposit down on the new truck. Because as of right now, we would not take possession of it until April of next year. that remaining balance could be budgeted in our 2024 budget.
What happens if the grant goes through?
If the grant goes through, it's gonna be a 60 grant. We're gonna pay for the truck up front no matter what.
I mean, we had a conversation last week,
Yeah.
and what my request of you was to give me a couple months to get your budget.
Yeah.
So,
The longer we wait, I mean, right now, we're fortunate. I mean, we've had plenty of rain. Plenty of rain also breeds large fuel supplies in the fall and spring of next year. So maybe, we have had very, very calm June and July. With hay being in full swing, we've had that pleasure because it's been wet. But you come November and somebody is out harvesting and strikes up a cornfield, you know, we could be for the next 3 days.
I guess why wasn't this a priority until right now? Because before the priority was the building that was gonna house equipment.
You're right, the building was gonna house the equipment. But that building now, since the delay of trying to find somebody to build it, and the price of materials going up. We couldn't get a building built.
Right.
And so why let that money in our budget go to waste when we could also?
Well, it doesn't go to waste in your budget. I mean, that's not the way it works.
Where does that money go?
It goes back and we prioritize all of the things that are needed for the city.
I understand completely, but is that $131,000 gonna come back to the fire department in 2024?
Depends on how the commission weighs their priorities. That's why I asked for additional time,
That's
because
why
it's
I'm-
the commission's role to weigh priorities, and they haven't seen the other priorities yet.
And it's my responsibility to bring the needs of the fire department to the commission. And I don't, and you asked me for a list of things and I gave that to you as well. So,
Yeah, I appreciate it, Patrick. Clearly you care about your crew and all, and I see that. I still struggle with the amount to make that decision that quickly. I don't know that 2 months is gonna make a huge difference as far as if it works that we can get the truck. I mean, and I could be wrong, I don't know, but.
and I understand, I mean, I'm in agreement with Mr. Shepherd about the whole taxes. I mean, I've had to sit here and listen to that too, but. They're also, I mean, as I said, you know, you two and who else was in the email, you know. The fire department has always played second to everything else. Right, wrong, and different, but it's time that. There is some engagement and involvement. And I guess some money put into the fire.
I mean, you're absolutely right. There's a long history with the relationship with
There is, and I don't hold any one of you accountable. I am just as new to this as anybody else, but it's my job to make
Right.
that happen.
Right, and we are making some support, absolutely, and I agree with something you said earlier, that we need to have, even within the fire department. With the equipment you have and the trucks and the needs, I'm not gonna begin to say I know what all the needs are, and so we need to have that. We just haven't had a chance to get that plan.
But there's money in this year's budget.
But there's money in this year's budget for the building. So what?
It's listed as capital. It's not listed for a building.
But
It's
here's
listed as capital.
my question to you, Richard. If the building, we had gotten it down the building, and it was enough money, what was budgeted was enough money to do the building, would we have done the building?
Absolutely.
And then what would we do about this truck that isn't critically?
And that's why I would be up here presenting my case again. I can't fight fire without a truck.
But then there wouldn't be money in the budget for that.
And you're right.
But your argument is that there's money in the
Yes,
budget
sir.
and you want it to go to the fire.
The
department.
previous fire trucks that have been purchased, the newest one is in 2015. It was never budgeted. It was on a bond for $20,000 a year. The latest aerial truck that was just purchased in 2022, just a blank check for $80,000. Never budgeted. And I'm not saying those things are right. I'm just stating what has happened in the past.
I just have a
And
hard
direct
time
means of the
agreeing.
fire department.
And I understand that. I have a really hard time, but first of all, I mean, we need multiple votes. We just our policies.
I've had
purchasing policies. Well, I mean, for a brush truck, like I mean, I don't know exactly what a person said, but I think we have, at minimum, we have pre-written quotes. For a truck.
I mean,
It's not-
those are, I mean. If we're gonna put this out for bid, do I have, I mean, am I gonna get a commitment to go ahead with the purchase of the truck?
I think it depends, but we have to go out to bid. We can't just make a contract with whomever.
I just, I mean, you got the grant out there, if there's options of grants every year, I can't see the city spending $160,000 when possibly we could get a grant next year. That's gonna be my honest opinion. I mean, I just can't support writing a big check when it might not be this year, it might be next year, but we can spend some more money if we have to, if we don't get the grant, and then next year have the at the bid. It's just a substantial amount of money, and I do understand that our trucks are, they're in need support, there's no doubt. But we need to do process and try to get more, because
There again, with the grant, you're gonna be writing the check and then whatever entity you apply that grant for.
But you're still not paying the full, it's not just money. Part of it is just the actual, so when you're weighing priorities in a budget, if there are grant funds available and you get a grant, then that goes way up in the priority list. I mean, you get a grant for a fire truck, that goes very high. So when you get outside funds and you can stretch tax dollars further, that's what, so. But when it's just $160,000 request with no, out of nowhere, essentially, that's really hard to make it, even if there's money budgeted for a building, because we had a discussion about maybe we can debt finance the building, maybe we can do X, Y, and Z, and so.
I can only do so much and present those things and you guys come up with some.
I mean,
I can give you some needs and I take it from there, but.
we had an interim city administrator last year. Worse from higher last year. I mean, we need to get our stuff figured out before we do anything big. I hate to tell you this, but right now I feel like I'm treading water and I don't even know which way is up.
I agree.
So I just can't, I can't. We need to find out what's gonna happen with the grant, and then we make sure that we get on these grants every year and see that maybe we do get another truck next year. But right now, we've got to take care of what's going on right now, get our budget taken care of. Anything else.
Do we still look for bids, or even wait on that? Because even if we, that doesn't guarantee we're.
The bid that I have sitting here in front of me is gonna be null and void in a couple of months. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna go up, it's gonna go up.
But that amount of money, like Becky said, we can't just go off one bid anyway.
Wow, I had.
We need to see them. I mean, I'm not doubting, I'm not saying, oh, yeah.
I mean, I can,
You're just-
I mean, I'm sure the bid that I have here from May is already out of date.
I get it, but we just, I mean, I guess Evans, do you have anything to add?
You guys. The priority. Yeah, I mean, the fire department is very important. Regardless of.
If we don't have any equipment to go to a fire, we're going.
I know that.
Okay.
I know, yeah. Hey,
I know you're doing it.
Yeah. I know the importance of equipment. There, yeah, you need to get it figured out. And how long before you find out about the grant?
They don't give us.
They don't give you a deadline.
We applied for a Kansas Forest in February, March timeframe, and they haven't awarded anything yet.
I don't know why I had in my mind it's good in a couple months. I don't know if I'm just making that, but Jenny said something about that.
I think towards the end of the year is what they were. I see, but I've seen so many grants the last few weeks that they will run.
One initial thought I have as well is if we're going to spend this kind of money on a brush truck, I mean, the majority of brush fires, I imagine, are not inside of city limits. So we need to look at those service contracts and what we're generating off.
Yeah, like seeing if the county would be chipping in with as well.
You have your townships, Hiawatha, and cycle plots.
That would be better. So. Don't give up, but we still have work to do. I know you won't. Maybe I was in it, hopefully, I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to governing body comments, I just want to point out again, Megan, the work that you've done. I mean, you got your little certificate and stuff, but I just wanted to reemphasize the appreciation, and there was several staff members who echoed that as well, so I want to make sure that you realize that. I also just want to shout out a little bit to Jenny. She, when Patrick talked about grants, she has stepped up and really helped with some grants too. And that's, you know, anytime we can get somebody who's comfortable working on that process. So I appreciate that Jenny's been helping out with that. So that's all I have, I think. Brian?
Brad, do you have any idea of the crossing at First and Oregon? I know school will be here before we know it. I want to get it down before.
You want me?
We've been in discussion, I mean. So there's been continuing discussion with the school district as well on some different avenues that we're pursuing possibly at this moment. The short answer is I've contacted KDOT, and so I've got them on board to help us when the time comes. It's been a long process to get to this point, and I appreciate you asking. But I don't know what else to add here. Do you have anything?
No, like I said, we're still working with the school district to see if there's some place we can go through there. And you're right, school's coming up quick, so we're hoping to get some of that stuff done soon. And if we don't see movement on it, then we are gonna have to just go ahead and move forward with.
Yes.
But the school district is, I mean, I think they're trying to go at it in a little bit different angle than what the city has. Because of, like Lonnie has said, and Ian Sheet said too at the board meeting, that we are used to a certain level of safety that this town has had for some, and so that's why we're gonna hopefully see if we can maybe head down to Topeka and see if we can get any ears there.
And we've just been trying to make sure that we exhaust all possible vehicles in the process to make sure that, you know, we want to make sure that everything that we could have possibly done has been done. And so that's kind of where we're standing with it right now. I'm sorry I wasn't prepared for your question, I guess. I apologize for that. That's kind of where they're at right now.
We did find out that if we were to replace and go brand new with everything, that it's gonna be closer to $500,000 by the time you did the concrete and ADA accessibility and all of that. It's gonna be closer to not the 250,000, but closer to $500,000 for just one line.
Yeah.
And just Iowa, or not Iowa, just Oregon first, and nothing to do with Iowa yet. So
And that came from an engineer's estimate, not from KDOT, but that actually came from an engineer that does these things. Which is BG on staff.
So are we thinking about the Olympics what we have still? Is this the whole?
This is still not, I would say, yeah, I mean. Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to make sure that we can have everything in place where whatever decisions made, you know, we're not too rash in what we're doing, I guess. Is a good way to put it. And so we just don't want to jump ahead.
There's a glimpse of hope.
always a chance.
I just don't, we're gonna have to take them down. It would be best to have them before school starts, people can be out there, they don't want to be out there 2 days before school, and I think it's a mess right now. It is what it is, 100% on that.
Anything else?
I think so.
Dave, you have anything for us?
I just want to echo comments that have been already made. Megan, thank you for all your efforts. All the hard work you've been putting in here lately. I really appreciate that, and just glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
Evans?
A lot of things have already been said. I was gonna talk about Megan, thank you for everything you do. All the department heads, everything you guys do. See, we wouldn't run without you, so you're close to the community. One other thing I would like to throw out, maybe the crossings at on Oregon Street. We could maybe look into getting in contact with the railroad to get those repaired. That's always been a ordeal there. Seems like Miami Street and Iowa Street, they stay good, but or Oregon Street, it always starts to be in disrepair, so. I would like that to see it with that.
Okay, moving on to executive session. I'd like to make a motion that the city commission recess into executive session and conference for a period of 10
That's what I was gonna say, but you should.
10 minutes to discuss matters regarding the issue of potential city personnel. The justification for closing the meeting is to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel. The open meeting will resume at 6:37 in the commission chambers and to include the commissioner, the city administrator, and the city attorney.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? No, Megan?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion that at 6:38, the city commission is called back into an open meeting. The commission took no binding action during executive session.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Not Megan?
All in favor?
Wait, I said no binding. Yeah. I just heard what it said. I thought that was the next thing we did. I'm just reading. So we'll just do that and then I'll have another motion.
Okay.
Is that okay? Yeah.
All in favor?
I
aye.
All opposed?
motion passed 4-0. I'd like to make a motion to appoint Don Boyles as city clerk.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Not Megan?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion passed 4-0. Congratulations, Don. Welcome aboard. Thank you. Unless I did it all wrong and then it won't work good. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion passed.
No, you can.